Hey people, it is Monday, September the 27th, and it is 11:30 in the morning, and the temperature is 21 degrees Celsius. And I'm standing here on St. Clair Avenue East, looking down at a neat little valley here. I'm on a bridge on St. Clair Avenue East, looking north right now, but I will be heading west along St. Clair, past Yonge Street, and maybe up as far as Bathurst Street. So we're in Midtown, Toronto, and this neighborhood is known as Deer Park. And this is just a really nice, sort of slightly upscale, very Tony, urbane part of the city. I find along St. Clair Avenue there's lots of handsome buildings. Some nice old classic apartment buildings. And there's a streetcar line with its own dedicated right-of-way. So similar to Eglinton Avenue further north, this is sort of a high-density node here along the subway line that runs north. It's almost like a bit of an outlying business district. So they decided to put their message on the sidewalk. So most of these office buildings date from the late 60s and early 1970s, and maybe up to the 1980s for some of them. So this area has been around for quite a while, really, in its present form. Hasn't changed all that much. The buildings here don't go very high, maybe 20 stories for office buildings and maybe 30 stories for apartment buildings. But there are some proposals now for some taller buildings. So it's probably going to follow a bit in the footsteps of Yonge and Eglinton, which has seen a lot of very tall buildings built and proposed. It's a pretty neat mural. Here's St. Clair subway station. The 512 St. Clair streetcar also serves this station. You can transfer to the subway in a paid fare zone. We are approaching Yonge Street. And there's looking south. You can see the towers at Yonge and Bloor off in the distance. And heading northward will take you to Yonge and Eglinton, which you can see some of the buildings also off in the distance in that direction. So as you can see, there are a fair number of office buildings here. And on Yonge Street itself, there's a nice stretch of retail and restaurants. And there's also a fair number of restaurants and other offerings here along St. Clair. But it does tend to skew a bit more towards office buildings and apartment buildings on St. Clair itself, at least along this stretch of St. Clair. It would probably take about 40 minutes or so to walk from here down to the heart of downtown, around say Yonge and Dundas. And maybe closer to an hour to walk all the way to the southern end of downtown around Union Station. And I think this is the head office of Rolex Canada here. Yeah, I can see a plaque there. It's another nice historic building. Yeah, some of these nice older apartment buildings. The Fleetwood, that's kind of cool. It's probably one of the coolest names for an apartment building I've seen. a big hurry to turn, so I just let them go. Looking up into some of the residential streets. The houses here tend to be pretty large and definitely on the expensive side. Mostly detached homes this far north. There are some semi-detached. Not a lot of row houses up in this part of the city. You have to go down closer to Bloor Street before you start to see row houses start to predominate. And here's another awesome old apartment building, and another one beside it with a fire escape. And I believe this is the building that Glenn Gould lived in, who is the famous musician, a piano player, known for his interpretations of classical works. Park Lane Apartments. And it's definitely a very attractive building. And something tells me the units in there are quite large and spacious and probably very expensive. And across the street you can see this somewhat controversial artwork. It's a man holding a tall condo tower by the looks of it. This building is certainly interesting with lots of plants and flowers on the balconies. There's a supermarket across the street. It's a bit of a more upscale supermarket chain. Some of these buildings look like the type that would have doormen. Even though doorman culture isn't really a thing in Toronto as it is in New York. We have concierges in lots of the condo buildings and nicer apartment buildings, but not so much a traditional doorman with the uniform and the hat. But some of these buildings definitely kind of fit that profile just by looking at them. Meeting of the doggies. This building is a newer addition to the neighborhood. It just went up in the last few years. And this one straight ahead is also new, and it is a very upscale looking building. Very fine finishes and details. That glass one is also new. So this is Avenue Road. It's a very busy street with lots of lanes and narrow sidewalks, and I believe there's discussion of trying to change that. Reduce the number of lanes, widen the sidewalks, get cars to slow down a bit. Cars tend to speed along here. And it is a street lined with apartment buildings, for the most part. And way off in the distance, you can see the CN Tower. And way up there you can see the clock tower at Upper Canada College. It's a prestigious boys' school. And here's a park named after Glenn Gould. So he's certainly remembered in this neighborhood. And here's that fancy new... I'm not sure if it's a residential, like if it's a apartment building or a condo. In any case, it's very expensive either way. It even has an expensive sounding name, One Forest Hill. Let's take a peek at the entrance. I'm gonna have to, I guess it is a condo, sales inquiries. And looks like it's getting a new neighbor here just across the road. No doubt this will also be a prestigious, expensive residential building. This is also another recent addition. Not quite as fancy looking as the other one, but still definitely upscale. And going north will take you into the Forest Hill neighborhood, which is one of the wealthiest neighborhoods in the city. Timothy Eaton Memorial Church. Timothy Eaton, the namesake of the Eaton's department stores that once graced the downtown of many large Canadian cities and graced the shopping malls of many other smaller Canadian cities, and now is no more. It is what the Eaton Centre is named after, though. The Eaton Centre at one time had a flagship Eaton store. It's a beautiful church. Now we're coming into a bit more of an affordable stretch of St. Clair Avenue. I'm sure apartments in some of these buildings will not break the bank. Or at least not as much. Forest Hill Dermatology. We are just skirting the southern boundary of Forest Hill here, in this part of St. Clair Avenue. Thinking maybe I'll cross the street. And check out the view of the skyline from the park across the street. Sir Winston Churchill Park. I wonder when that park will be renamed. Har har. I kid, I kid. There's a little free library. Let's see if there's anything good in here. We've got a few volumes of the Everyman's Encyclopedia. Alright, let's check out the view from the park. Also, this is the shady side of the street, so I'll continue walking along this side. And the stairs are all covered with water. And I have a hole in my shoe. Okay. Wow, lots of water up here. So you can see the CN Tower, you can see the financial district, and you can see the Aura condominium and One Bloor East and the Four Seasons. The downtown looks kind of compressed from this angle. Things are a lot further apart than they look. And that's a pretty awesome kite over there. The stairs weren't designed very well. They hold pools of water on every step. Oh, and by the way, that was Spadina Road. So that'll take you down to Casa Loma. And eventually the Baldwin Steps, and that will take you down to the continuation of Spadina Road. No vacancy in this old apartment building. And this building is called Winston Place, I guess named after Mr. Churchill. And this building and its twin are actually rather old. They've been around for a good 40, 50 years or so, but they still look pretty fresh and modern. I think if you told someone they were just built in the last 5 years, they probably wouldn't question it. It's called the Thomas. And there's another one like it behind this one. Holy Rosary Church. And there's the big Loblaws grocery store. And also Bathurst, St. Clair West subway station is also in there. Bathurst is a street that's just up ahead, which I will arrive at momentarily. And here's another entrance to the subway station. This is kind of a neat subway station because the streetcars come underground just up ahead and they go into the station. Kind of similar to Spadina station. I recently did a subway adventure and I went through Spadina station. You can see some of the streetcars. And here we have Bathurst Street. So this was my planned end to the video. So I was thinking I would hop on one of these streetcars and take a ride into St. Clair West subway station in another video. So I hope you enjoyed the walk from St. Clair Avenue East, a few blocks east of Yonge, and then continuing west past Yonge Street, all the way here to Bathurst Street, through the Deer Park neighborhood and beyond. So leave a comment below, like and share, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And be sure to hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos. And if you'd like to support the channel, there are links in the description where you can do so via PayPal and via my merch store. And you can also find me on Instagram under K Continuum. So thanks for watching, and be sure to keep checking back because, as always, I will continue.